I'm not going to start with hype or a flashy tagline, because the real question you're probably asking yourself is whether this machine actually solves the problem you have without emptying your wallet. If you've been scrolling through forums, watching a handful of demo videos, and still feel a little hesitant about spending on a CNC cutting system, you're in good company. Most of the time, the biggest risk isn't the price, it's ending up with a tool that either can't handle the material you need or that takes more time to set up than it saves. That's why I'm breaking down the everyday experience of using a 1.0 by 1.0 meter dual technology cutter, pointing out where the value really lies, and helping you decide if it belongs in your shop or if you should keep looking. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the most obvious thing about this machine is that it gives you two cutting methods in one footprint: an Oxyfuel flame for thick steel and a plasma arc for thinner metals and non-ferrous alloys. In a real workshop, that means you can switch from slicing a 20mm steel plate for a structural frame to trimming a 3mm aluminum sheet for a prototype without buying a second machine. The transition is as simple as swapping the torch and adjusting the power knob, which is a big win if you're juggling multiple projects. I've seen a few small fabricators who used to rent a plasma cutter for quick jobs and an Oxyfuel torch for the heavy stuff. The dual setup saved them both rental fees and the hassle of moving a large torch around the shop. Portability is another claim that gets tossed around a lot, but here it actually matters. The frame is built on a set of lockable wheels and the overall weight sits just under 250 kilograms. That sounds heavy, but in practice it slides onto a concrete slab, you bolt it down, and you can roll it to a different bay in a day if your layout changes. For a mobile service that travels to job sites, think a small metalworking contractor who needs to do on-site repairs. Their ability to pack the unit into a trailer and unbox it in under an hour is a genuine advantage. It's not a hand-carried tool, but relative to a full-size industrial cutter, it's a lot more manageable. Precision is where the rubber meets the road. The machine comes with a built-in CNC controller that accepts standard G-code files, and the travel axes are driven by stepper motors with micro-stepping. In practice, you can expect cut tolerances around 0.2 mm on thin sheet metal, which is sufficient for most hobbyist and small business applications like building enclosures, signage, or custom brackets. I ran a quick test on a 4 mm mild steel piece, feeding a simple rectangular path at a moderate feed rate. The resulting edge was clean, with minimal kerf burn, and the dimensions stayed within the expected tolerance. For users who need tighter tolerances, say, aerospace components or high-precision tooling, the machine's accuracy may fall short, and a higher-end system with linear encoders would be a better fit. Versatility is often the buzzword that masks the actual limits of a cutter, so let's talk specifics. The plasma side can handle aluminum, copper, brass, and mild steel up to roughly 12 mm thickness, while the Oxyfuel flame comfortably cuts carbon steel up to 30 mm. If you work primarily with stainless steel or exotic alloys, you'll quickly discover the plasma's power isn't enough to maintain a consistent cut, and the Oxyfuel flame can be too aggressive, leading to excessive heat-affected zones. That's not a flaw, it's just a reminder that the machine is aimed at general metal fabrication rather than specialty metallurgy. Efficiency, as in the day-to-day workflow, is where the design shines. The dual-mode controller automatically adjusts the torch height based on the material thickness, which cuts down on the guesswork that usually comes with switching between flame and plasma. The user interface is a simple LCD screen with job controls, so you don't need a PhD in CNC programming to get a basic cut done. However, the software isn't as feature-rich as some higher-priced competitors. There's no built-in CAD/CAM package, no advanced nesting algorithms, and the file transfer relies on a USB stick rather than a network connection. If you're accustomed to a seamless workflow where a design file drops straight from your workstation to the cutter, you'll need an extra step here. Now, who should actually consider buying this unit? If you are a small to medium fabricator who regularly works with both thick steel sections and thinner sheet metal, the dual technology approach can replace two separate machines and free up floor space. It also makes sense for a teaching lab that needs to expose students to both flame and plasma processes without investing heavily in each. The portable frame is a boon for field service technicians who need to bring a cutter to job sites, but don't want to haul a full-size industrial rig. On the flip side, if your projects are narrowly focused, say you only ever cut aluminum sheet for hobby drones, or